G'day folks. So today I'm going to talk about my new project. So me and Martin from Seventh Son have both decided to embark on a mission to the Holy Land and do the first Crusade. And now initially the whole plan was I wanted to paint up the new Victrix Normans, which was why I was going to do this, and I've ended up doing all the Arab forces first for some reason. So I've glued loads of these guys together. This little work in progress. And on this 18 I've done 9 different colours, and then I've got another unit in the back there. I'm going to do 9 different colours on them and then mix them all together. Now I did start doing a couple of test models, but they look horrendous. So I'm not going to bring them up too close. But I'll put the shield on there to see if it'd hide the fact that I've done a terrible paint job. And I suppose if you look from the front, you just distract. The other yellow guy's even worse, so I might end up having to repaint them. I got some Agrex Earthshade from GW, and it's come up glossy, and this has kind of put an entire halt to what I was doing until I can get into workshop and swap it. Really annoying. I swapped from Army Painter Strong Tone to Agrax because the Army Painter, show you from distance. The Army Painter kept coming up shiny and glossy, and now I've got the same problem with the Agrax. Really annoying. Anyway, so I've got these 2 units built and on the go. I've got more built, but this is what I'm working on at the minute. So I've got lots of these shields from Little Big Man Studios. Really nice. I've just popped some matte varnish all these because they were shiny, obviously, being transfers. And I've just dulled them down. I've got more. I just need to tidy up some of the edges, but I'll do that when I put them on the models, I think. So, all of them. So this is my plan. I'm going to be using probably like Warhammer Ancient Battles or something for these. So I'm going to have 5 units of 18 blocks of spears like this. 2 of them will be basic spearmen like this, and then I've converted one guy, and I'm going to convert a whole unit. So I've got an armoured block of spears. So when you buy the heavy cavalry set, you will end up with 12 spare torsos. And I'm getting a couple of boxes, so I'll have enough to do a unit of 18 of these. Really straightforward to do. All you do is you take your foot soldier, chop him in half, glue that torso on. The only thing you've got to be careful is he's got a little knife on his belt. So you just got to be careful when you get down to that, to chop that round with a knife. I used a razor saw to chop him in half, and then I chopped his arm off and glued that on as well. But in the armoured cavalry box there are armoured arms, and I think there'll be some spare of them after I've glued them all together, which I haven't done yet. And then I'll be able to put armoured arms on as well. So I'm waiting to glue the rest of these guys together until I get that second box of heavy cavalry. So I digress. So yeah, there will be 2 basic units of spears, 1 heavy armoured, and then I'm going to do a unit of spearmen all in black, just for something different so they can stand out. They'll have mixed weapons, so the front rank will have swords, rear rank will have spears. And then I'm going to do 1 unit of fanatics, and I'm going to use these embossed shields that you get in the cavalry packs, and they'll all have them, so it'll make them stand out, you know, when you just look at the unit. Because they'll all have them shields, they'll just stand out straight away. Well, that's the plan. So that'll be 5 blocks of them. And then I've got 4 blocks of skirmishers, which are on the same bases, but it will just be 3 men to a base. And 2 of them are slingers, and 2 of them are archers. And then I also will have light cavalry. These are going to be in units 6. And I have 2 units of 6 as light Arab cavalry, and then 2 units of 6 as Turkmen. And the Turkmen can actually fight for the Crusaders as well. So if the Crusaders are a little bit outnumbered, I'll be able to use these Turkmen to go with them. So if anyone plays or has played Warhammer, you tend to have light cavalry in units of like 5. I'm doing 6 because I can. And all they're there for really is harass flanks and cause a couple of extra wounds and stuff, take off some rank bonuses, whatnot, before people get into combat. So that's why I'm doing these in units of 6. And I'm going to give them that fire and flee rule as well, just to make them even more annoying. So they'll be able to, you know, run up, fire some shots off, and if they're about to get charged by anyone, they can just run away and avoid the charge, hopefully, if they can run far enough. So that's them. And then the heavy cavalry will be in units of 9, 3 to a base, and there'll be 3 units of them. So overall, it's going to be quite a decent sized army. Oh, also there'll be characters, and what else? Characters. Oh, and a unit of camels. Them 3D prints that mine was talking about. I'm going to get some of them. So how are my characters going to work? So let's pretend he's not a standard bearer for a minute. Let's pretend he's a hero. And what I'm going to do is I'll put them on individual bases. I might give him a bodyguard if I've got enough spare figures. So like he'd be like a hero level or something with 3 wounds. So the other 2 guys on his base would represent wound counters in effect. So every time he lost a wound, I'd take one of them off until he was on his own, and then he's only got 1 wound left. Now with Warhammer, obviously you can put them in the units, but I'm just going to put them at the side like that. And that represents them being in that unit and being able to fight and add their attacks and their leadership to that unit. And also for rank bonus, because I've got them spread out in a long line like this, I'm going to work my rank bonus slightly differently. So each stand has obviously got a 2nd rank. So when that's removed, you lose one of your rank bonuses. So this unit in effect will have 3 ranks as a bonus for the combat resolution and a banner. Because I need them to... They've not got any armour, so they've only got a shield, so they only have like a 6-up save. So they need that rank bonus to be able to stay in combat a bit longer. And also, while we're on the subject, now I didn't get the supplement shield wall, but while we're on the subject of shields, I'm going to give these and the Crusaders, as it happens, the shield wall rule. I say I haven't got supplements, so I'm not exactly sure how it works, but how I'm going to work it is they will get... they'll be able to do a shield wall, which will make the opponents -1 to hit them, and it will give them +1 toughness, so a bit harder to wound. Because I want these combats to be drawn out a bit longer. I don't want it to, like the Crusaders, to run up, smash them to pieces, chase them off the board, done. I kind of want to give them a chance to hang around a bit, because they're going to have poor leadership, but with that shield wall, it's going to be a bit harder to hit them and a bit harder to wound them. Now, obviously, because they're so busy putting the shields up, they're going to get a -1 when they actually hit back as well. So, you know, it's not all fun and games having shield wall. You do get a -1 to hit yourself. Now, also, Martin put me onto these guys. These are the Grenadiers and the Siphon chaps. So look like siphons, fire, Greek fire, like a little flamethrower. So they're really cool. So what I'm going to do with these, you can attach, well, this is what I'm going to say for my army. You can attach 1 siphon to a regiment, and you can have a maximum of 2 in your army, because I've only got 2. So they'll just go like at the side of the unit, and they'll be able to shoot Greek fire. I'm not sure of the range yet, maybe 12 to 18 inches, undecided. And they'll be able to stand and shoot as well. So it will give these, again, hopefully a little bit more longevity. Now, the Grenadiers. So I'm going to run these grenadiers like kind of like goblin fanatics. So when somebody charges up to this unit, they'll be hidden. You can have up to 2 in a unit, and they can be in any one of my 5. They can't go in skirmish units, but they can go in any block unit of infantry. So I've got a 1 in 5. So 2 of them, I'm going to put 2 in, you know, in each sort of thing. And again, what will happen is you'll charge up to these, and as you're charging, these guys will run out and start chucking grenades at you. And I'm thinking probably D3 auto hits with strength 5, and they'll count to combat resolution. So if you run up to them, they chuck some grenades at you, kill 3 people, then you're already at a -3 before the combat even starts. And then you'll carry on your charge, and these guys will just fall behind and reload. So if they do win the combat or survive long enough, then they'll be able to stand and shoot again, in effect. And I thought that'd be a nice little cute little rule. And again, hopefully, because obviously when the Crusaders run up, I'm going to give them a better weapon skill, and they've got heavy armor. Most of them have got heavy armor and a shield, so they've got a decent save, even without shield wall. So they're probably going to beat these spearmen all the time, statistically speaking. So this will hopefully give us these basic, you know, spearmen with just a 6-up shield save more chance in combat. So hopefully it will give it a bit more, you know, flavour to that shield wall era, where it's a lot of pushing and shoving and backwards and forwards, you know, and just trying to stab through the gaps in the shields and stuff, just to cause casualties that way, and it'll drag the combats out, make them a little bit more drawn out, and hopefully give these guys a bit more of a chance. And the Crusaders will have shield wall as well, but it's only ever going to be maximum -1 to hit. So if they both got shield wall, it's not going to be -1 from these and -1 because you've got your own shield wall. We'll just keep it at -1 rather than -2, I think. Now, I did mention in my previous video, if you've seen it, I'm going to have an imam for these guys, and probably a priest, or maybe even a couple of each. And they're going to act like, which some people hate, of course, wizards. But I'm not going to make it all powerful. What it'll be is it's more like a blessing, really. So it'll, you know, come up to this unit of troops and say, all right, lads, just to let you know, Allah's blessed you today, and he's going to make you much more efficient in combat. And because these all believe in God, they're going to take that on board and think, oh, nice. And that will give them a +1 to hit. So it's just more of a blessing than magic. I'm not going to have crazy lightning bolts coming out of the sky, or the ground opening up and swallowing half the army. Nothing game changing, just little things like that. Or, you know, they look like they're about to get absolutely flattened by a unit of cavalry or something. And he can give them some sort of blessing where they'll become unbreakable for 1 turn, so they won't run away, you know, if you need them to be a roadblock, something like that. And again, for the Christians, I'll do the same thing. Because, you know, these all were very religious, these guys, and obviously so were the Christians. And the Arabs' imaginary friend was called Allah, and the Christians' imaginary friend was called Jehovah. So the whole fight over the Crusades was really who got to name their imaginary friend. Me, I'm far too old to have an imaginary friend, but these guys truly believed it. So, you know, you could give them a blessing for +1 toughness, because they'll fight on longer even though they're wounded, because they've got an imaginary blessing from an imaginary being. This is probably about as far as I'm going to go with this army as well. I think I mean, by the time it's all on the table, it's going to be quite big anyway. With 5 units of these, 4 units of skirmishers, 4 units of skirmishing cavalry, and 3 units of heavy cavalry. It's going to be quite a big big force on a gaming table, so I think that'll be fine. And the Crusaders are going to be similar. Now the Crusaders can have grenadiers and siphons as well, or flamethrowers, whatever you want to call them. They are siphons, but I like to call them flamethrowers. They could have been lent some by the Byzantium Empire. So I might run them slightly differently, the Crusader ones. I haven't quite worked out what I'm going to do. I'll probably put one individual, like circular base with 2 grenadiers and a siphon, and maybe have some rule where they can only be shot at if they're the closest target type of thing. Otherwise they'll just get targeted, and that'll be that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got planned. The Victrix still haven't released the Norman Cavalry yet, so we're waiting for them. Maybe they'll be at... Oh no, Victrix have pulled out a salute, so they definitely won't be there. So I'll just have to keep an eye out for them when they turn up, or when they show up on the website. So yeah, I'm going to crack on and get the base coats on all of these now. And I hopefully do a better paint job. So if you've actually stayed this long and still watching, you can see how bad this is. I mean, it's not finished because I've still got the face to do and stuff, but look, it's just, what a terrible, terrible job. Yeah, I'll try and do better on the rest of them. I may or may not repaint these. I might just keep them as a reminder and hide them in. And this guy, fortunately, most of the shield blocks how bad he is. Yeah, I'll try and do a better job. Martin's actually painted some of these, and he's done a really good job, so maybe I should repaint them. It's still a bit gooey. But yeah, the whole shiny Agrax thing has just really annoyed me. I just brought everything to a halt until I can get some more. Now I haven't got a day off now for 7 days, so it's going to be a long time before I can get into workshop and change it. Not much else to say really. I think if I had lots of contrast paints, that's the way to go with these. Give them a dark undercoat, or even grey, dry brush white, or Zenithal highlight white, and then put contrast on. I think you'd be done. And I think if I had lots of contrast paints, that's what I'd do, but I haven't got any. But that would save a lot of time. You'd get these painted in no time. Not so much the horses, because mind you, I've got my speed painting method painting the horses. So, but they've got lots of saddle blankets on these, and they have loads of intricate, fancy patterns. And I might paint some fancy patterns, especially on these yellow guys, to try and hide how bad a paint job I've done on. But my thinking is I might save the fancy patterns for the fanatics and stuff, and maybe the heavily armoured troops, and just keep these fairly basic, because at the end of the day they're probably not going to live that long on the gaming table, because they're only, basic bod spearmen. Anyway, I've waffled on long enough. Well done if you stayed to the end. That's my plans for the Arabs. I'll put a link in the description to Martin's channel and the Crusaders that he's painted. And hopefully, although I say I haven't got a day off now for 7 days, but hopefully of an evening I might be able to get a little bit of time in to do bits and pieces on these. It's just whether I can get into GW and sort that bloody Agrax. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.